doing is hardcore rallying the people. He knows he's riding a wave of nationalism. Globalism's done. It's doing is hardcore rallying the people. He knows he's riding a wave of nationalism. Globalism's done. There really aren't words to describe how powerful and how important this simple statement is that you are about to see.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Now, the NFL, the Players Association groups, all of them are flipping out right now because they're part of the Hollywood, part of the globalist, part of the big media elite that's been bullying and pissing on the American people and telling everybody they're racist and telling everybody they're bad and telling them to accept globalism and socialism and communism and to just give up all our rights or we're going to bully you and call you racist like Tom Brokaw's called me with no evidence. And
You know what's hurting the game more than that? When people like yourselves turn on television and you see those people taking the knee when they're playing our great national anthem. The only thing you could do better is if you see it, even if it's one player, leave the stadium. I guarantee things will stop. Things will stop. Just pick up and leave. Pick up and leave.
A lot of the NFL owners are billionaires. They pretty much banned Kaepernick from the league. They don't say it outright, but none of them will sign him, even though he's clearly one of the top 96 quarterbacks in the world. Of course, one of them should sign him. They have terrible quarterbacks throughout the leag, and they won't do it. But what did Trump just do? He took those billionaires, a lot of them who had not only publicly said they voted for him, but had given him millions of dollars, and just told you to leave their businesses, to hurt their businesses. You're such an idiot. You took natural allies and turned them into enemies. That's all he ever does day in, day out. And by the way, he keeps telling people, that they should take action if he doesn't agree with their political point of view. He is the government. He's the president of the United States. When asked who's his favorite Supreme Court justice, after he first said Judge Judy, he didn't, but almost. He first said that he would think about putting Judge Napolitano from Fox News on the bench. Anyway, when pressed later, he said, Antonin Scalia. Antonin Scalia is my favorite justice. Well, let's go to a quote from Antonin Scalia. He's obviously deceased now, but this is what he had said about this issue. He said, if I were king, I would not allow people to go around burning the American flag. However, we have a First Amendment which says that the right of free speech shall not be abridged, and it is addressed in particular speech critical of the government. That was the main kind of speech that tyrants would seek to suppress. So here we go again, a tyrant trying to suppress speech that he does not like. Now, that was not well enough, so he decided that he's going to tweet on the issue. Here comes Trump more. Says if a player wants the privilege of making millions of dollars in the NFL or other leagues, he or she should not be allowed to disrespect our great American flag or country and should stand for the national anthem. If not, you're fired. Find something else to do. Again, making it a First Amendment issue when it previously was not. Before, it was about freedom of expression as a general principle. Now it's getting to be the government intimidating people into taking action against people because they did not like their political speech. That is exactly why we have the First Amendment, so that the government cannot do that, so that tyrants cannot do that. Even the most conservative people in the country agree with that. Now, Donald Trump continues, courageous patriots have fought and died for our great American flag. We must honor and respect it, make America great again. He's just not letting it go. Now, this is now finally Sunday morning. So he started it Friday night. There's a lot of heat around it. He, of course, doubles down because that's all he ever knows what to do, right? And then he continues, sports fans should never condone players that do not stand proud for their national anthem or their country. NFL should change policy. Again, trying to dictate terms to them. So what happens on Sunday after Trump makes all those comments? Well, everybody starts sitting. Of course. So we have players from all over. Let's start taking a look at the pictures here. Immediately it starts in the Jacksonville Jaguars, Baltimore Ravens game. Now, let's pause here for a second because that was the first game played. It was actually in London that it was being played. It was the first in the schedule. And that in the owner is Shahid Khan in the middle. The owner of the team who gave a ton of money to Donald Trump, but now is standing with his team and locking arms in protest of Donald Trump and of the national anthem. They're locking arms during the national anthem. He turned the owners that had given him millions of dollars against him. I told you, he is so stupid. All right, let's keep going. All right, then that's the Ravens on the opposite side also taking a knee. This thing's on fire. That's the Jaguars locking arms, but also the Houston Texans, the New England Patriots. We got more on Tom Brady later in the show. He was part of that as well. Now that's the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles also locking arms with his players. He's now turning almost all the owners against them. The Giants on the opposite side playing the Eagles also locking arms. The Chiefs not only locking arms but raising fists, some of them. And by the way, Travis Kelce, the most prominent white player, now Brady as well, of course, but Kelce took a knee for the Chiefs. That's the Los Angeles Chargers taking a knee. The Lions both locking arms and taking a knee, so it is part of the same movement. The Falcons doing likewise in the same game. Now Rico Lavelle in that game sings the national anthem, takes a knee, and puts the fist up. So now it's spreading to not just the players, but to people singing the anthem. He's not alone, more on that later. The Browns, likewise. Even the guys that are standing, locking arms oftentimes with the guys who are kneeling. Giants, Bills, Broncos, Saints sitting on the bench. That's another form of protest. Panthers, Buccaneers, those are Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans, the two best players for the Buccaneers doing it. More owners, the Packers doing it. Aaron Rodgers is in there, the Bengals doing it. The Redskins, even Daniel Snyder locked arms. Also another huge donor to Donald Trump. Oakland Raiders, Marshawn Lynch started sitting on the bench. A lot of the Raiders sitting on the bench there. Then for the Seahawks-Titans game, neither side shows up. Neither Seahawks or the Titans show up for the national anthem. They're both in. Then the guy singing the national anthem, the woman and the guy playing the guitar, they both take a knee while singing the national anthem. So everybody's doing it in that game. More from the Bears, and the Steelers are the ones who started staying in the locker room. I have more on that story later in the show. They come out only after the anthem is done. The Jets, and by the way, Ray Lewis, who is a Hall of Famer for the Baltimore Ravens in that first game with the Ravens and the Jaguars, also took a knee. And the reason why that's an interesting story, and there he is, he's of course retired now, is because Ray Lewis was a supporter of, or at least had gone to see Donald Trump. Let me read you two of the people from that game making the statement. Julius Thomas, tight end that used to be for the Jaguars, now with the Dolphins, had said in a tweet, quote, "This isn't the first time in this country where men and women with oppressive values tried to intimidate men and women with great courage to accept inequality. I will take a knee with my teammates until I see liberty and justice for all." So great job by Thomas going further and explaining his stance. Then HuffPost explains future NFL Hall of Famer Ray Lewis, who visited then President-elect Trump in New York in December, also kneeled. In the past, though, Lewis has spoken against Kaepernick's protests. Now, the reason I tell you that part is because look at this. Another potential ally who had said Kaepernick was wrong, now swayed by Trump so much that he goes and joins Kaepernick and takes a knee along with his former teammates on the Ravens. So it goes on and on. Now, we go to the Seahawks. The Steelers were the first to not show up for the national anthem. And they put out a statement that they will not be doing that. Now, one of their players did come out, he's a former Army Ranger, and salute the national anthem. Everybody else stayed in the locker room. Then Seattle also stayed in the locker room in a later game and put out a statement. The Seahawks players announced before the game at LP Field in Nashville, Tennessee, that they would not be participating in the national anthem, and they clarified, quote, to protest the injustice that has plagued people of color in this country. So they wanted to make it clear this is not just for unity with fellow teammates, but it is to actually protest injustice and racial injustice as well. Now I want to go to statements from higher ups. So we go to the CEO of the Green Bay Packers, Mark Murphy. He says, it's unfortunate that the president decided to use his immense platform to make divisive and offensive statements about our players and the NFL. We believe strongly that players are leaders in our communities and positive influences. They have achieved their positions through tremendous work and dedication and should be celebrated for their success and positive impact. And he went on to say also, we believe that it is important to support any of our players who choose to peacefully express themselves with the hope for good. As Americans, we are fortunate to be able to speak openly and freely. So nice job, Donald Trump. There goes CEOs of football teams, and now finally to the owners. Robert Kraft, a good ally of Donald Trump, one who gave him a Super Bowl ring recently, gave him, I think, about $1 million for his campaign, went to his inauguration. Even Kraft turns. Not only did he lock arms with his players, he said, quote, I am deeply disappointed by the tone of the comments made by the president on Friday. I am proud to associate with so many players who make such tremendous contributions in positively impacting our communities. Our players are intelligent, thoughtful, and care deeply about our community, and I support their right to peacefully effect social change and raise awareness in a manner that they feel is most important. Thank you, Donald Trump. You gave Colin Kaepernick and all of us who believed in him and the stand that he was taking so much more allies, so many more allies, so much more momentum. No one could have done for this movement what Donald Trump did by buffoonishly attacking those folks in a way that turned almost everyone against them. Now all of a sudden you've got billionaires, Trump supporters, Trump voters, conservatives, and so many other folks that are now turning around and going, yeah, wait a minute, that is their free speech rights, right? And they should be able to speak freely. And wait, at some point they might even turn around and go, wait, why is Colin Kaepernick not in the league? I mean, now that all of these players, hundreds of players are taking the knee, why on God's green earth is Colin Kaepernick still not in the league? And my guess is that probably gets solved soon, because now Trump has settled the debate. By going on the opposite side, he's gotten almost the entire country to at least understand and appreciate what Kaepernick is doing. And finally, after seeing all this, do you think Donald Trump is going to reverse position? Of course not, he's gonna triple down. So he then tweets after the games, great solidarity for our national anthem and for our country. Standing with locked arms is good. Kneeling is not acceptable, bad ratings. Oh, first of all, locking their arms is locking their arms against what you stood for. They're saying they stand with their teammates who are kneeling. He doesn't understand anything. And then what's his last line? Bad ratings, don't care about principles. Got you. By the way, there's bad ratings because everyone's leaving TV. They don't have subscriptions to cable anymore. So it has nothing to do with anything else. Okay, and he says, the issue of kneeling has nothing to do with race. It's about respect for our country, flag and national anthem. NFL must respect this. The only way you can make it worse is to involve the government more and make it an actual freedom of speech issue. And now you have the president, the leader of the government, saying the NFL must respect this. When earlier he also talked about firing people, etc. And Roger Goodell says, divisive comments like these demonstrate an unfortunate lack of respect for the NFL, our great game, and all of our players, and a failure to understand the overwhelming force for good our clubs and players represent in our communities. He's, of course, the NFL commissioner. Now this is Donald Trump responding to Roger Goodell, saying, look, he has to take his ideas and go with what he wants. I think it's very disrespectful to our country. I think it's very, very disrespectful to our flag. In other words, meaning, I mean, he shouldn't be fired or anything. He's a white person in a position of power. So I just kind of disagree with him. The other guy should be fired though. Okay, interesting. If you turn the NFL commissioner against you when he was the guy that other folks are blaming for keeping Kaepernick out of the league. Man, you have screwed this up royally. Last thing, it is spread to other sports. Now you've got Bruce Maxwell, first player in the Major League Baseball to take a knee during the national anthem. This just happened, and he put out a statement saying, "My hand was over my heart because I love our country. I've had plenty of family members, including my father, that have bled for this country." His father served in the Army for a long time. "That continue to serve for this country. At the end of the day, this is the best country on the planet. My hand over my heart symbolizes the fact that I am and I will forever be an American citizen, and I'm more than grateful to be here. But my kneeling is what is getting the attention because I'm kneeling for the people that don't have a voice." And another Oakland A's teammate just said online that he'll be joining Maxwell in the next game in taking a knee. That teammate happens to be white. So Donald Trump, we could not thank you enough. You have spread this protest to almost all the players, now to different sports, and to even billionaire owners of these teams. Kaepernick could not have done it better. We could not have done it better. So thank you for being so incompetent, such a buffoon, and not understanding our country, what it stands for, and the flag, because it rallied the rest of us to fight for the true spirit of that flag, the true spirit of this country, which is to always, as the Constitution says, strive for a more perfect union, to hold our government accountable. And if there is racial injustice or injustice through police or anything else, we all fight to make it better. That's why Kaepernick took a knee in the first place, and that's why we all fight for that principle. Thank you for giving us all of these allies.
As far as Colin Kaepernick, I salute him. I salute him because he didn't have to do that. To stand up against white supremacy, being a marquee athlete, I mean, he's not just a bench player. You know, he's a superstar black quarterback in the NFL. He just played in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. So I support and salute Colin Kaepernick for that. It's a shame that so many other athletes did not join him. He's probably going to suffer because of that. Okay, his career might be cut short. He may never get another contract, but I will always honor and respect him because he stood up like a man. He stood up like a man. He definitely calculated the risks involved, and he took them anyway. Okay, that's what King did. That's what Malcolm did. That's what Garvey did. You understand? They calculated the risks, understood that I'm outnumbered. I might not achieve this, but the man in me requires that I do what is right. And that's what Colin Kaepernick did. So I can't wait to buy one of his jerseys as long as he still
People have to be made to feel uncomfortable, and especially white people, because we're comfortable. We still have no clue of what being born white means. And if you read some of the recent literature, you'll realize it really is no such thing as whiteness. But we've kind of made it up. That's not my original thought, but it's true. And it's hard to sit down and decide that, yes, it's like you're at the 50-meter mark in a 100-meter dash. And you got that kind of a lead. Yes, because you were born white, you have advantages that are systemically, culturally, psychologically there. And they have been built up and cemented for hundreds of years. It doesn't matter.
So Jack Posobiec, just next level, and I've got like 20 similar clips.
And getting this stuff.
It's older clips and
getting this stuff.
It's older clips and
getting this stuff.
It's older clips and
getting this stuff.
It's older clips and
getting this stuff.
So Cornell, I want to talk to you about this last week. This young 10-year-old, very intelligent-looking young lady, a black young lady at a Pearland school who will not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in her classroom. She doesn't want to stand up because apparently she believes that black Americans need a lot more to be done in this country. She is not willing to support the black Americans that have fought and died for this country. You know what I believe, Cornell? And I know you supported her publicly, but you know what I think? I think at 10 years old, she has no real understanding of what America is. So I wonder if her parents have sat her down and explained what Americans have given their lives, white, black, red. It doesn't make any difference. They stood and they fought and they died for this country, and she doesn't want to do anything to honor them?
Matt, she comes from a family of military service members. Her father's is a retired military service member also, who served this nation well with great dignity. She also has additional family members who was in the armed forces.
Good.
Her mother's a very intelligent woman who has had long conversations, as well as her father, about her not standing for the flag. What white people need to understand
Just white people?
Yes, please, let me explain. What white people need to understand is that that national anthem was written by Francis Scott Key, a slave owner.
Oh, here we go.
Who demonized and hated black slaves and black people. And that unwritten third, that unheard of and unspoken third verse, go research the third verse where he says, there's no refuge in this country for the hireling or the slave. Both should be turmoil to the grave.
How's her parents doing?
This is a man
Are they successful?
that promised turmoil for black people to the grave. Would you ask Jewish children to say a pledge to a German anthem that disrespects Jewish people?
If they're
No, you
living
would
in
not.
Germany,
No,
sure.
you would not.
Well, sure.
That disrespects Jewish people?
Then
No,
why,
you would not.
You certainly can kneel down. In America, you have the right to do that. But what will happen to her, how her friends will respond, how the school will view her, how Americans will view her is very negative. And this is not what you want for your 10-year-old child.
And let me say to that young girl and others like that young girl, America looked at the same way at Rosa Parks when she refused to get up and give up her seat to a white man on the bus. But history vindicated her. History vindicated her.
Two different
America
things.
demonized Harriet Tubman for freeing slaves from slavery, but history vindicated her. So I say to that young girl, you stand strong, stand up, and stand for what you believe in. And to all of those who are too coward to do it, don't get in that young girl's way. Others
What
like
would you
her,
like
support that young
What
girl.
would you like her to say to the men and women who have fought for this country, like I ran into over the weekend, the black men and women who fought for this country, and some who gave their lives?
And ask the black men and women who served America in its military, like in the Independence War. We helped America get it, and we were still slaves afterwards. Ask those in Vietnam who gave their war on Vietnam battlefields, but then came back and was called niggas in their own country. We have fought in America's war, and we've never been given the justice and the due process of everybody else in this nation.
Then
so
why don't you move to a different country? Why are you staying here if you don't like it?
Let me tell you why. Because the country belongs to Indians. You white folks stole it from them, raped and robbed their people. This not your country. You all came over here and stole it and beat the hell out of them. So this not your country.
It was my country.
You all need to go home.
If you're
you
not
all need to go back where you came from.
If you don't like it, why don't you pack up and go?
Let the Indians decide who should pack up and go. And I guarantee you black folks will stay, and you all will be on the first damn boat leaving here. So don't try that, brother. You all didn't make America. This is not your country.
What you should do is sit down with someone who has fought for this country, Cornell. Get their opinion, too.
Tons of black people have, and what have we gotten from it?
And I gotta sit here as an American who watch illegal aliens who hate our country running all over.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor hungry people in the mud for big powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality, raped and killed my mother and father. What, I'm going to shoot them for what? How can I go shoot them? Them little poor little black people, little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? Just take me to jail.
Ali more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. You my enemy. My enemy is the white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
Back during the election, Tom Brady, who is, of course, the quarterback for the New England Patriots, seemed to be supportive of Donald Trump. In fact, he had a Make America Great Again hat in his locker, which he has slowly but surely tucked away. And now, recently, he decided to talk about Donald Trump's statements in regard to NFL players who refused to stand during the national anthem. He was on the Kirk and Callahan show, and here's what he had to say about Trump's comments to those who refused to stand.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly disagree with, what he said and thought it was just divisive. And, like I said, it's, I just want to support my teammates. And I always say I'm never one that says, oh, that's wrong or that's right or but I do believe in what I believe in. And I believe in bringing people together and respect and love and trust. And those are the values that my parents instilled in me. And that's how I try to live every day. And, I've been blessed to be in a locker room with guys from all over the United States over the course of my career. Some of my great friends are from, Florida, Virginia, New York, Montana, Colorado, Texas. I mean, I think one thing about football is it brings so many guys together, guys that you would never have the opportunity to be around, whether it was in college and all the way into the pros. And we're all different and we're all unique. And, that's what makes us all so special.
So he was also asked about those who agree with Trump and actually disagree with those who refuse to stand for the national anthem. And here's what he had to say about it, and I totally agree with him. I think everyone has the right to do whatever they want to do. If you don't agree, that is fine. You can voice your disagreement. I think that is great. It's part of our democracy. As long as it is done in a peaceful, respectful way, that is what our country has been all about. At least that's what our country is supposed to be all about.